You know, I understand why some people would support a party that is racist or sexist or homophobic and transphobic or xenophobic. Most people who have bigoted beliefs don't think of those beliefs as bigoted, and when they see those beliefs reflected in the policies of a political party, they don't see it that way. They view that party as advocating for the interests of them and people like them. So I don't like it, but I get it on a purely practical level. What I don't get is why anyone would support a party that doesn't care if they die. I have relatives in my extended family who had an older person in their family who had to go into a nursing home. And before that, for many, many years, this person needed at-home nursing care as well before they moved on to the full-time nursing home. And this was incredibly expensive. This burned through all of the person's assets. Then there was a sale, their house was sold, most of their possessions were sold. The money that was raised by that was then burned through in a matter of a year or two. The medical expenses were just astronomical. It was amazing, and would have been devastating to these people had Medicaid not kicked in after all of these assets were depleted and then covered the medical costs from that point on. For the last 4 or 5 years of this person's life, while they were being cared for in the nursing home, their expenses were covered by Medicaid. Virtually every person in that family is a Republican, voted for Donald Trump, voted for Republican candidates, voted for people who openly advocate the destruction of the social safety net, who openly push legislation that would allow states to kick people off of Medicaid, to dismantle the very program that allowed their elderly relative to live out their final years in comfort with the necessary medical care to keep them alive and keep them healthy and keep them comfortable while they lived out the final years of their life without financially devastating the family. People who will vote directly against their own interests. People who will vote for a party that, if allowed to do what it wanted, would completely ruin people like them, loyal Republican voters. People who have supported the Republican Party for their entire adult lives, who probably haven't voted for a Democrat ever. And they would be completely destroyed by policies like this. If this health care bill were allowed to become law, and a loyal Republican voter who was just a working class person who maybe struggled every once in a while to pay the bills, or only made minimum wage or a little bit above minimum wage, or struggled to make ends meet because they had a lot of kids, or they had an ailing relative that they had to care for. People like that who are one medical crisis away from just being buried. They call themselves the party of life, the pro-life party, and then they vote for legislation like this that will make it easier for states to discriminate against folks with pre-existing conditions, or contract the Medicaid expansion so that more people are thrown off of health insurance policies that they were only able to get because of the expansions and the subsidies made possible through the Affordable Care Act. When they pass legislation like this that would make it easier for employers who are large enough to afford it to just not offer people health care. Not only is the individual mandate going to be repealed, the employer mandate that requires that employers provide health care for people, that's gone too. So even if you have a good job, if the guy you work for decides he doesn't want to pay for you to have health insurance anymore, he's allowed to just get rid of it. The Republican Party does not care about you. It is their stated party policy to support laws and measures that will ruin your life if you are unlucky enough to get sick or face some other medical catastrophe. They will ruin your life. If you or someone you love, someone you're close to, someone you feel responsible for gets cancer or needs a heart transplant or needs long-term medical care that you can't afford, you are screwed. And they, the people you have voted for your entire life, do not care. And I'm not going to try to pitch you and say you should vote for Democrats, you should vote for these people or that people. I'm not even going that far with this. I'm just saying, just think about it. How can you vote to support people who do not care if you die? I don't understand it. I don't think I will ever understand it. But if that's you, if you are a Republican voter, it's something that I'm sorry if it seems presumptuous of me, but I really think that you should think about that while you still can, while there's a chance to do something about it, before this bill does become law. Why are you supporting these people?